It has been a year since the removal of Robert Mugabe from power, and many Zimbabweans in diaspora are now contemplating on the best way forward. This as the economic crisis in Zimbabwe worsens under the current leadership of Emmerson Mnangagwa. Young entrepreneur Brenda Nyakujga, founder of a digital marketing firm, Content Candy, who left Zimbabwe for new opportunities after having worked in media for more than 10 years, says Mnangagwa's government has a big battle of winning back investors' trust.
I think trust is a major thing. I think for any investor, they need to know that whatever investment they put into the country is safe, that there will be no political upheaval in the next year or violence and intimidation. They just want to know that the investment is safe. And I think for the small guys, they probably would need to look at the bureaucracy that is tied up with registering businesses and possibly bring in more incentives for small businesses to invest, whether it's tax breaks, support with regards to upskilling, those kind of things. I think that's what will entice people to get back in, where they know not only is their investment safe, but they'll be supported in their business ventures.
Founder of Taal-net Group of Schools, Justin Tapiwa Magidi, says he has heeded the call by President Mnangagwa to invest back home and that Zimbabwe's education sector can be restored from its current collapse.
I'm already there in Zimbabwe. I think I have 2 years in investment in Zimbabwe. I'm building a school in Mazoe, Glendo, a primary school and then a secondary school. And then it will be having a boarding school for primary, a boarding school for secondary school. At the same time, I'm prepared to build a hospital at that particular environment. With my knowledge as far as the education system of Zimbabwe is concerned, other things may have faced a lot of challenges, but the education have not been much affected. The government, even the previous government that way, they try by all means to protect the education system. What can only be needed is either to add extra resources, but the system on its own, there is no much changes as far as the education system is concerned. They've tried their best to make sure that the education system is kept intact.
Justin says he migrated to South Africa in 2007 with no work experience, only armed with a degree in computer science. 2 years later in 2009, after failing to secure a job with no funding, he started a school that has grown to become one of the largest group of private schools in South Africa's education sector.
To me, business, I can say it's a calling, because before even I left Zimbabwe, I was doing business at university. I was supplying all the food in the tuck shops that they need. So at least that's when I get the experience. So I was having 4 employees at the university. And then from there, so that's the reason why I said, okay, now I want to maintain the same standard that I was having in Zimbabwe.
A BBA in marketing management graduate, Ronald Tongai Chimwene, left Zimbabwe after the economic collapse of 2008. He believes with the necessary support, Emmerson Mnangagwa might be able to restore the crumbling economy.
I think he's a person who might manage to do it. That is, if he's given support by us people. If we go behind him and give him a chance, I believe he can manage to change the situation of the country. Already with the symptoms that he has shown of engaging the international community into our country, he's actually opened Zimbabwe for to the rest of the world. Zimbabwe is a country which is opened up for business.
Ronald, who has invested his time in diaspora by furthering his education, eagerly looks to contribute his new skills in the rebuilding of Zimbabwe.
I'm a graduate with the Institution of Marketing Management, IMM. I have a BBA degree with them. Then in South Africa, I've managed to pursue my education. I managed to do import and export management with the same institution.
I do think on the economic front that he really has potential to deliver. And then, of course, the engagement with the international community will bring in investment. But the other important thing is that Zimbabweans themselves who are outside the country, if he can inculcate their trust that he's going to respect their money and restore some legitimacy to the banking system, then that can make a big difference.
Brenda says, despite Zimbabwe's political and economic uncertainty, there are substantial opportunities, and she looks to expand her business in her home country.
Zim is yet to catch up with the rest of the world when it comes to digital. So the world isn't going digital, the world has gone digital. But the brands in Zim are yet to catch up to that phenomenon. And understandably, you know, the economic climate hasn't been great, and I'm sure the first thing to go were marketing budgets. But we think that's such an amazing opportunity, because when President Mnangagwa came and said, you know, people must go to Zim and invest back, I thought this is a great opportunity, because now we can tell stories of a country that was nearly forgotten.
President Emmerson Mnangagwa has promised economic revival. Will he be able to restore investors' confidence and lure back the huge skilled talent in diaspora? Reporting for CNBC Africa, I'm Daniel Sango.